When I was in college, I got involved with a paranormal researching group through a friend of mine. We'll call him M. M knew I had a general interest in the occult, something that would flourish as my time in Georgia went on, and had decided that I was a sensitive, someone who could feel spirits. I don't know if I could or not, but he was insistent enough for the both of us, so I went along with it. M was of course our occult expert. At the time, I thought M knew a lot of things and had some kind of otherworldly knowledge about the avenues of occult workings, but ultimately he turned out to be a good grifter. He curated this mystique about him that was alluring to certain types of women, and it helped him bounce from bed to bed in the 3 to 4 years I knew him. We were joined in our ghost hunting by a woman named Eva, who is still doing ghost hunting in the North Georgia area as far as I knew. He had a lot of equipment for ghost hunting, things he had picked up from previously failed groups, and was our resident tech head. I'm pretty sure she and M were together, though maybe not officially, and we stayed in touch after the group broke up. Our fourth was a guy named Simon, who kind of reminded me of Dib from Invader Sim, though I'm not sure he was doing it on purpose. He fancied himself a cryptozoologist and was also a wealth of knowledge when it came to conspiracy theories. He believed in everything, from alien abduction to the FBI assassinating JFK, and you couldn't convince him that any of it was anything but gospel. He was friends with M too, and it sort of made M our de facto leader. He rode around in his mum's white minifan, Mystery Inc. style, and helped people who were experiencing strange activity. He did this for about 6 months before Eva and M began to argue, and Simon graduated and moved to Pennsylvania. But we had some times in those 6 months. Most of it was curiosity work, standing in cemeteries and taking pictures to get spirit orbs, taking recordings to hear sounds, and the usual kind of thing ghost hunters do. A few others stand out. I might tell you about them, but the one I want to talk about is the case I remember as the smokehouse. The smokehouse was unique because it was one of the few cases we had that made me think what happened might be our fault. The family that lived there were called the Fosters, Mary and Kevin, not their real names, but close enough. They were recommended to us by a professor at the college, a friend of theirs. They had recently noticed a strange smell in the house that no one could explain. They had been to electricians, home inspectors and contractors. They had all kinds of inspections and offers and such, but no real answers. They had come to the professor, and he came to us. Their son had died a year ago, and they were afraid his spirit might be haunting the place. I don't know why they have come to this conclusion, but they wanted someone to take a look who knows what they are doing. We pulled to their house at about 6:30, just as the sun was getting low. M said it would be more mysterious if we arrived at sunset. This might cast us in a shadow, so we looked more legitimate. The couple was older, maybe late 50s and early 60s, and they showed us in with smiles and questions about drink or food. Some of us ate, some of us drank, and we all listened to what they had to say. We lived here for 40 years, bought it when we were newlyweds. Andrew, our son, was born here. Didn't quite make it to the hospital, so my wife had him right here in the kitchen. He lived here until he was 19 when he decided to be a firefighter. We were proud, but not very hopeful. Andrew had tried to get into the army and was refused. Tried to get into the police academy the year before, but couldn't make it. And now it was firefighter school. We figured this would make free, but he excelled at it. He got into shape, he learned the material, and not long after he was a firefighter. The woman sobbed a little, looking down into her coffee before her husband continued. Our son was a firefighter for nearly a decade. He died in a fire trying to save a family from a collapsing building. They brought us his fire coat and his helmet, and we brought it home and made it a little remembrance wall. It's in my wife's sewing room now, along with a picture of him, and we find it a great comfort. A couple of months after he died, the smell began. It's a smoky smell, I'm sure you smelt it since you've come here. The others have smelt it too, but none of them can find it or make it stop. We've tried to get rid of it through the normal means, so now we attempt to get rid of it through the less conventional means. We'll pay you if you can figure out why it's doing this. So we set to work. Eva set up some cameras and microphones, Simon helping her, and Em and I set about being sensitives. Em would ask me what I felt, and I would tell him what came to mind. He would always nod, eyes closed, and tell me what it meant, like some pocket sage. He always understood what it meant, understood it with that maddening way of his, and I accepted it. I didn't make sense much. Scruffling in the attic that turned out to be squirrels, the hum of a washing machine, a slight creak that could be nothing more than the house settling, but nothing of any substance. It was usually like that, but any little thing always meant something mystical. Em could hear phantom voices in the rattling of an old water heater, but we never really questioned him. Questioning in that community was frowned upon. If you called someone out for their bullshit, they were likely to call you out on yours. We were all just trying to see if we could do real magic, hoping it would be us who was the next Luke Skywalker or Harry Potter. We wanted to be special, but we mostly just looked ridiculous. After about 3 hours, Eva hadn't got any audio or video, and I hadn't felt more than the hum of the washing machine. We were at a loss for the smell, something all of us had admitted to smelling. But, of course, Em had the answer. He went to the memorial wall and pointed to it, nodding as he wove his hands before it. There's a spirit attached to this cult. He's displeased about being deceased before his time, and what you are smelling is his spirit. I will tie a charm to it and put a circle of salt around it, so the spirit might disconnect on its own. Do I have your permission to move it? The foster said he did, and he took it down as he moved to a spot on the floor. He looked down at it, and then added the helmet too before encircling the whole thing in salt. He held his hands out once this was done, speaking low before raising his voice and speaking to whatever spirit he believed attached itself to it. Spirit, I beseech you to move on. Your life here is no more. You must go to whatever lies beyond. Be gone from this house. You are welcome here, no more. Then he spouted some pseudo-Latin at it and forked the sign of the evil eye at it. There was no pillar of fire, no unearthly laughter. We all just stood there and watched the cult, ignoring the blackened marks on the arms. When he was satisfied, Em told them that if the smoke smell came back, they should call us immediately. If it hadn't come back in 3 days, then the coat and the helmet should be fine to hang on the wall again. They thanked him, and when he slipped his hand in his pocket, I realised they had given him money. When he climbed into the fan, Em didn't comment on it, and I realised he didn't mean to tell us about it. 2 days later, I got a call. It wasn't from the Fosters, it was from the police. They had Em down at the station, and they wanted the rest of us to come down too. Apparently the Fosters were dead, and the house had been burnt to the ground. We understand that you and your friends were there the day before. Do you mind if we ask you what you were doing at the Fosters' house? I explained what it was our group did, but the officer in charge of my questioning scoffed. So you didn't do anything? Is that what you're telling us? Yes, sir. I have left nothing in the house, and when we got into the van, the Fosters were very much alive. He nodded, taking a picture out and putting it on the table. Does this look familiar? It was a little grainy, but it was clearly the remains of the cult Em had circled in salt. The charm was still attached to it, and the salt around it was undisturbed. That's their son's cult, the one who died. My friend Em put a circle of salt around it and affixed a charm to it because he believes the spirit was attached to it. Neither are flammable, and we in no way started that fire. They had a few more questions, but they ultimately had to let us go. There was no proof we had done anything but go in and play pretend for about 4 hours, and they had to turn us loose. We had all decided not to talk about it, but I think I realised that something had happened there that night. We had not been the cause, not really, but we had also. If we had let it go, they'd probably still be alive today, still dealing with the smoky smell and nothing else. After that, we were a little more careful about how we interacted with spirits. Actions, after all, have consequences. I hope you enjoyed that fantastic story by the amazing Dr. Plague. And if you like his work, please check out his YouTube channel and his Reddit page. The link is in the description below. And I'll see you next time for more chilling tales.